Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Mefasa Prayer. I'm your political emancipator, political blog, your political emancipator, and your political blog. So right now, we'll be talking about things that are happening in our country, things that are happening in Nigeria, things that are happening in states to state, political events that you know about, political events that you've heard about, political events that you've seen that you literally does not really understand what transpires. So my channel here will break it down for your understanding and what has been happening. So if you've been following my channel or if you watch my last video, you know on my last video I talks about the saga or what I call the hocus pocus between the federal government and Nigeria Labour Congress, right? On how the Nigeria Labour, how federal government actually makes labourers to understand that they are going to set up a tripartite committee, of which they set up, and along the line they come up with a resolution that the Labour does not really agree with, and the federal government is trying to force it on Labour. If you watch my last video, able to that explanation is there. But now something transpired on June 12th, which happened to be our Democracy Day, right? The president actually makes Nigeria to understand that the federal government and Nigeria Labour Congress actually come to a resolution to actually come to a round table and concluded that this is going to be their new minimum wage. After the president makes that speech, Labour actually come outside to say, no, we did not agree with them. There was never any resolution on this, because the federal government or the presidency has actually made us to understand that what they've agreed, they are going to pass it down to the National Assembly to see to it, and they'll make it to become law. So that was what transpired. That was what the federal government is saying. So literally right now, we don't know what is transpiring. The Labour is saying, no, we did not come into conclusion. The federal government is saying, yes, we come into conclusion. So we don't know who is deceiving who. We don't know who is playing who. But I'm literally right. My point or my thought is this. To me, I felt that it's a little bit bully if Labour did not agree with federal government, then federal government actually comes up to say, okay, fine, this is what we are going to pay, this is how we are going to pay. But I won't be surprised anyway, because if you've been following this case right from onset, you could be able to see that federal government has actually set up a tripartite committee which consists of 37 members, and those members are members from different private sectors, members from political parties, and members from different sectors, so to say, right? And members of Labour as well, to come up with a substantial minimum wage that the Nigeria government can pay. So probably I felt that, okay, maybe the federal government is trying to play safe to see this is what we can do and this is how we are going to do, because the federal government actually makes Nigeria to understand that if eventually whatever Labour is demanding for, they are paying it, they are going to lay a lot of people off. And you and I knows what, when the federal government said they are going to lay people off, they mean it. So I felt that, okay, fine, maybe the federal government is trying to say, okay, fine, this is the safer part, this is what we can do, that it will not be so painful to us, or this is what we can do that it will not hurt us. But on the other hand, I think the Labour should be well consulted, right? Labour should be well consulted to see that this, because now the truth of it is this minimum wage is not something that we do every year. Before now, if actually a new minimum wage comes up now, before they can be talking about another minimum wage now, it will be up to 5 years time. And you know that the last minimum wage that they increased was 2018, and 2018 to 2024, now that's 6 years. So it's not that Nigeria government has been so consistent, because this new minimum wage we are discussing about is something that they should have resolved since last year. But you know now, the inconsistency between the federal government and Labour is what has brought us this far now, that is putting us here now. And now federal government is still trying to play so fast one, so to say, on the federal government, on Labour. Because if you go out, if you are a Nigerian that go out there, and you see that the cost of things has gone up literally, everything has gone up literally. You cannot buy, you cannot even get, like for those people that stays in most of all these urban area in Nigeria, they can't, things are very, very expensive. So I don't really know how Labour is going to go about this, but you know, at the end of the day, they are still going to, you know, do their political permutation to come up with something. But I just pray that at the end of the day, it should be a win-win for both parties. Yeah, being win-win for both parties. The federal government should not take Nigeria Labour Congress for granted, and Nigeria Labour Congress as well should be reasonable with whatever their demand is, because you and I know that the country is broke. Forget irrespective of how our political elites are living their life, our political appointees are throwing monies around, you and I know that Nigeria is broke. Nigeria is broke. Can't deny that. So I just pray, and at the end of the day, I just hope that Nigeria Labour Congress and federal government should be able to come up with something good for Nigeria workers. So now let's move down to another story that has been so interesting. The issue, if you've been following the political party, political issues that is happening in Rivers State, right, you know that it is something that actually very funny to me anyway. You found out that the former Rivers State governor in the person of Nyesom Wike, who happens to be the substantial minister of FCT now, right? He and the governor of the state, Fubara, they are actually having issues, and this issue started from literally, let me just say, first or second month when the governor was actually sworn in, and they've been having this back and forth. So, but along the line, the Rivers State House of Assembly actually decided to gang against the governor, of which the governor actually stood his ground to say, no, you cannot gang against me. We have separation of power here. You have to do your own, I have to do mine. At the end of the day, members said, okay, fine, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do. But let's try to cut the long story short. At the end of the day, about 27 members of Rivers State House of Assembly, we consist of 32 members, but 27 of them actually they come from PDP to APC. Not that there is issue, not that they fight, not that party has been having issue. The only issue that has just been happening in that state is just that the Rivers State governor of Fubara and the former governor of the state are having issues. Now, the member of House of Assembly actually takes side with former governor of the state. And the governor looked at it and said, okay, fine, if this is what is going to happen, this is what you need to do. And he approached the court, and the court actually, along the line, last month, as at me, the court actually said, okay, fine, since you guys have decammed from PDP to APC, your seat is vacant. They declared their seats to be vacant, but they no longer belongs to that particular party that elected them to become members of House of Assembly. That big since they decamped, their seat has become vacant. So it was a back and forth for them judiciary-wise, right? So, but now the beauty of it is now, as I did before yesterday, so to say, the member of Rivers State House of Assembly actually approached an appeal court to say, fine, this is the government that was given by the High Court in Port Harcourt, and we are going to appeal it. And the appeal court makes them to understand that you just have to obey the status quo. That obey the status quo in the sense that since the High Court in Rivers State has actually said this is what is the side of the law, and that's what they are going to do. So literally, it seems at the end of the day, with the way things are going, there are going to be another election in that state to elect new members of House of Assembly. But the truth of it is this: so many Nigerians are actually watching to see what is going to transpire. Because it will be very good democratically, right? It will be very good democratically if this particular thing can actually happen to these members of House of Assembly. Because I won't lie to you, if you've been following Nigeria politics, you find out that most of all these political appointees or most of all these political elected members always take things for granted. It has happened. You could go back to during the time of Saraki, them Dino Melai. If you follow Nigeria politics, you see what transpired there. Then during them Tambua, them Dogora, all of them, you see all these things have even been happening. Even though you go back to Edo State now, you see what is happening just because some of the members of House of Assembly are supporting the Philip Shaibu, and at the end of the day, the speaker comes up would say these people try to kill him, and at the end of the day, they suspended. These are people that are democratically elected in a political party. They are democratically elected, and the speaker just have issue with that. At the end of the day, comes up with say this is what transpired without anybody actually saying how do we find out the truth about it. Everybody just concur and said yes, the speaker is right, and it is so. Issues like this has been happening in Nigeria. Politicians and members of House of Assembly have always been taking side with whoever they love. So if this happen in Rivers State, I believe that is going to serve a good example to them. So Nigerians are watching. Rivers State should be aware that Nigerians are watching. Nigeria wants to see what will transpire. Nigeria wants to see how this goes down, and it's going to be very beautiful. Now that's what we're going to touch light. We're going to touch light what is happening in Kano State. If you look at Kano State, right, Kano State is among the King Kardashian states in the north. We call them the King Kardashian state because the volume of numbers of election, the volume of numbers of candidates coming out from that place or members of electorate coming out from that place during election time is always very much. So we call them the King Kardashian state. Kardashian state represent the Kano, the Kaduna, and the Katsina. So now what is happening in Kano State is very, very hilarious and it's very funny. And this circle is started during the time of Ganduje. Right now, Ganduje fall out with the emir. And I know you literally understand that the Emir Sanusi Lamido is actually more Buhari guy than every other person's guy, right? But this is one of the people that actually make sure that President Muhammad Buhari becomes the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, because the problem started when he said that there was a 20 billion naira mixing, $20 billion or naira so missing the CBN during Goodluck Jonathan time. Though that is even one of the things that actually fight against Jonathan re-election then. So he was among the people. Now, though literally he never campaigned for President Muhammad Buhari, but you and I know, those people of us who are in the political space knows that Sanusi Lamido happens to be Buhari guys. But another thing you should understand that Sanusi Lamido is somebody that is very, very neutral. When I mean he's very neutral, When I mean he's very sure that irrespective of who you are, he's going to tell you the truth. So I believe there was a statement he made then during this time when it was the emir, when he was asked about about the issue of ASU, and it makes the journalists understand that those who does not give education, those who does not have education cannot give education. So the APC as at then, the ruling party as at then, but did not find that statement funny to the extent that along the line they connived to make sure that they remove the emir. The emir was removed, they dissolved the emirate, created an emirate, then they bring in another emir. Then what did Sanusi Lamido? He quietly left the state. He did not fight with anybody. He didn't take the matter to court. He left the state because according to him, he felt that the peace of his people matters to him most, right? But along the line, after some years, another governor came in, the person of Yusuf, and Yusuf actually happens to be a Kwankwasia. And Kwankwasia have been loving Sanusi Lamido. Said, okay, fine, that they are going to, revert back to the old law. Then they signed into law that all the four emirate that was dissolved should become one, and the former emir should be installed, which what they actually did. And along the line, it didn't go down well with the former emir. So the former emir now, Bayero is actually taking the former emir now, who happens to be Bayero now, he has actually taken the case to the court. So now something strike me when Sanusi Lamido was actually making a statement, right? Sanusi Lamido makes Nigerians understand that the emirate has been happening hundred of years ago, like a very you cannot just wake up one morning like that to say, fine, you dissolve the emirate. You understand? So now my point is this: it will be very, very essential if Nigeria politicians, right, stop be interfering in our cultural heritage, because to me literally it's not fair. You can't just wake up one morning and feel that, okay, fine, you dissolve the emirate, you now decide to create more emirate for in respect just for your political gain or just to win election. This is absurd. I believe Nigerian government should try to find a way to see how this desist from this political environment, so to say. It should just desist from it, because to me this is uncalled for. And as a developing nation, I think if we actually following through this way, it will be very hard for us to actually achieve whatever we transfer to. But the truth of it is this: at the end of the day, what matters is we have a country, and I pray that one day Nigeria will definitely have what we deserve, and what we deserve is actually the best for all of us. So please, I will still be updating you time to time on political events that are happening in our Nigeria, in our country, in our states, in our lives, so to say. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. I'm Mefa Prayer. Please subscribe. Thank you.